Okay, so I'm gonna start recording it. Okay, here we go. Okay, now we're recording. Okay, so let's get started. So we've been chit-chatting a little bit here beforehand as usual, getting ready for Kirstie's presentation. Kirstie, thanks so much for preparing this for us. This is going to be very exciting. I'm really looking forward to your topic. I think it's so important. And you know, years ago, I don't think I would have ever thought that. Like, well, in a way, but it was always sort of on the margins of the things you're going to talk about. Like, and I think it's more and more we're finding it's going to be right in front of us. Like, this is the thing that we need to look at when we're talking about health. And it's so I really love that you are focusing on this. I'm going to let you introduce your topic and yourself for your presentation. So I'm just going to hand everything over to you. Do you have anything that you need to share as far as like screen sharing? Do you know how to do all that? Yeah, you got it. So you can screen share with us.
I think I do. I just trying to work out if I can do the full screen with it rather than so you can see the other tabs. I'll try that.
I think that when it records, it actually just shows the full. So I'm pretty sure. You mean when you have your you just you do the slideshow, I think. No, because you don't want it to. Okay. Yeah, it's like you can fiddle with it a bit. Screen. Yeah, do you want to try it right now? Do you want to try it before you get started? Yeah, let's try it. This is a learning opportunity. It's not like a formal thing here. So, and I've got this. I don't like these ones, but I have this because I'm trying to make sure we don't have a lag. And it's actually, I think it's working. Yay! Okay, yeah. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Wow. There it is.
Oh,
there it is. Oh, wow.
Very pretty.
Wow. Okay, I'm impressed already. All right, so I'm going to be quiet now. I'm going to hand it all over to Kirstie, Gran. Okay, so let's get started.
So I'd just like to say hello, everyone. Thank you for being here and listening tonight. It's an honour to be able to present to you today on a topic I'm passionate about. And my presentation is entitled The Awakened Mama, Conscious Motherhood from Preconception, How the Outer World of a Babe and Child Reveals the Inner World of Mama. So, introduction. There is no task more sacred than being a parent, or mama, should I say. There is nothing more sacred for a mama than the task to prepare for that incredible spirit who will arrive in human form. So what do I mean when I say awakened mama? For me, it is a journey, a commitment to how you want to live your life. A mama being aware, conscious, mindful, being able to understand herself, her place in the world, to live authentically and with vitality, and to grow and guide her children to be able to do the same. So how can a mama show up to motherhood in the best way possible for herself, her children, and for the world? We can start by asking ourselves who we are as women. Do we understand our true worth, strength, and ability? Do we respect our intuition and divine femininity? What is culture telling us? Who do we listen to? What do we put in our bodies, on our bodies? Who do we have relationships with? What do we expose ourselves to? What do we love to do? How do we feel? Who are we? The importance of awareness around preconception, conception, pregnancy, birthing and postnatal times and motherhood are paramount if we seek to enable our babes to grow physically, emotionally and spiritually, to be the people they came to this earth to be, whoever that is. Babes are tuning forks. They are such pure light energy which has not been transmuted by cultural energy. They bring the inside out. On many levels, they are the physical, emotional, and spiritual manifestation of us, and they make us face it. They are the strongest mirror to us. They make us question who we are, show up where we are not showing up in the world, let go and go with the flow. We need to expand our awareness to be at one with them, living more in the heart as children do, rather than in the ego. Adults find so hard to do. Children teach us how. When a mama realises the connectedness of herself with her baby, this can truly change everything. When a mama is awakened and mindful by being in the present moment and standing in our gentle, strong and loving power of who we truly are, we give our children the space to grow into who they are meant to be. I believe that knowledge is power, so I'd love to share my learning, experiences and journey about this with you. So this presentation will address some of the above questions, will shed some light on our sacred role as mamas, and will open up a whole new world of questions for us to ask ourselves. This is certainly not about being perfect. This is about being awakened. So during this presentation, there is time constraint here, and I probably could talk all day, but I'll only give an outline of some of this hugely expansive subject. And obviously we can explore further in the future if you'd like to do so. However, I'm hoping at the end of this, you'll have a good overview around conscious motherhood, and you'll be able to go away with some actionable steps in which to become an imperfect, conscious mama goddess, so you and your family can thrive rather than survive. So my journey so far, I can say that becoming a mama has really, truly brought my guts out, twisted them round, and required me to work out how to put them back. I thought I had done a fair bit of personal development before becoming a mama, but this is the biggest learning curve of all. I have found that my inherited beliefs and parental behaviours kept surfacing until I realised that this was not the way I wished to be as a mama. So my parents. Our past can obstruct our present if we are not aware or conscious of what is going on. Being an A-type personality, studying for a new career of passion whilst running a business with my husband, and being committed to a dance troupe, I am tested to expand my consciousness and show up for them every day in order to be the mama I want to be, and to get out of the way, to allow my children to be who they are meant to be. I find I can get so attached to the outcome I hope for, feeling it's best for my children and feeling frustrated when it doesn't go my way. It is a roller coaster of emotions. I have come to realise in many ways that desperation is the law of paradoxical intent. The more I feel so fixated on something, the more I push the goal away. It pushes our children away from us. Either they're not ready for that on their path, or they don't feel the same as we do. Going back to preconception, I feel so lucky that I was aware of the responsibility and importance of preparing for my children. Since I was younger, I did have hormonal problems, had PCOS, had anxiety, gut issues, appendectomy, and various physical and mental health challenges to deal with. But I feel so lucky I was able to work towards resolving these naturally, strengthening my mind, body, and soul. My son surprised me because he came at 36 weeks, but I'm so thankful I was able to birth my baby girl at home in a dark, relaxing, and peaceful environment where my body and baby were left to work their magic. Birthing is not something we need to do, but an innate process by which our body and our baby work together. We just need to be able to get out of the way. Following on from this, I have seen how my emotional state and beliefs directly impact my family. I was in a job that I knew was not my passion and didn't enjoy. So when I returned after maternity leave, my daughter came out in skin issues on her arms. When I was feeling stressed and anxious, my son's anxiety was rampant. And as I said earlier, our children are tuning forks, and they pick up exactly on how we feel. I believe it's all about awareness, being conscious of our stuff, because the unlived life of the parent, subconscious beliefs and desires are the most impactful for the child. The best thing we can do for our children is to foster spiritual connection and health. Western culture. So what kind of society have we become in the West? What are our values? Who do we trust? And is that trust reciprocal? Are we unique individuals within a well-adjusted, collaborative and supportive society? I see the answer to this as no. We live in a fear and stress-based culture which sends people's minds racing and grounds us and disconnects us from our innate brilliance and abilities to heal ourselves and live a truly fulfilling life. As I'm sure you're aware, there is more illness and disease in our society now. Illnesses that were not around decades ago, illnesses that appear to be more present even when we have more technology and scientific knowledge than in the past. But therein lies the question, could this be the problem? In modern day society, many women are taking the pill, taking antibiotics, on medications, exposed to toxins, smoking or vaping, excessively drinking, putting many products on their bodies, eating processed foods, on mobile phones and surrounded by EMFs, drinking polluted water or other drinks, on social media, comparing themselves, living from subconscious beliefs, may not know who they really are, and are divorced from nature, disconnected from their divinity, not fully embracing the feminine. And the list goes on. So how is the Western culture affecting mother and babies? Mums are struggling to conceive or infertile, have numerous rounds of IVF, hearing stories of childbirth which generate fear, exercise, nutrition, lifestyle deficits during pregnancies, miscarriages, illnesses and vaccinations during pregnancies, blindly follow what they are told to do, giving away their power, medicalised childbirth, told they need others to birth their children, told what to do when the children are ill, they must vaccinate their children, feel pressure to go to all of the clubs for babies, must get up and get on with it and look fabulous once they've had a baby, no time to bond, rest, recuperate and heal, must parent in a certain way, There can be postpartum depression or anxiety, isolation, loneliness. There can be fearful, stressed, can be mental dysregulation, aren't aware of the connectiveness between themselves and their babies. So in summary, I think mamas don't understand our incredible divinity, have lost trust in our higher power, and are blinded to how actions, belief, and energies affect the relationship with our children. So if all this leads to a suppressed mama, then how can things be? By understanding the nature of preconception, pregnancy, childbirth, bonding, and nurturing children, the importance of preparing for this miraculous responsibility by detoxing our physical, emotional, and spiritual bodies, connecting to our divinity, taking back our power, and filling our lives with love. So who did women used to be? Goddesses, wise women who stood in their gentle, nurturing power and raised a village, held the secrets to health and well-being, understood the feminine body and its innate connection with the natural world, passed down the seeds of food to feed their tribe. And with the rise of the patriarchal society, women have been trodden down for centuries. Witches were burned at the stake, ridiculed now as having big noses, warts, broomsticks, ghastly potions and cauldrons. Women had previously in the past had their wombs removed, as this was seen as the source of their madness. Natural remedies are hidden, and the feminine is seen as weak and emotional. Now think about who you are as a woman. Do you understand your true worth, strengths, and abilities? Do you respect your intuition and love yourself for who you are? How can connecting with the divine feminine and goddess energies enable us to tend to our own bodies and live in our power and live a truly authentic life? The divine feminine is the flowing energy of unconditional love. We can wake up our connection and plug into that power with our inner resources and begin to channel a life-changing, world-changing force for healing and grace. We can learn to make our inner light a match for the heavenly light that resides within each one of us. There are many gifts of the divine feminine that we can call upon and connect to, and I will outline these. So love that will nurture. Do you take care of the miraculous living being who is you? Are you a loving parent to your inner child, treating yourself with kindness, compassion, and patience? Are you considerate to your physical needs for proper nutrition, adequate sleep, and regular exercise? Do you love and appreciate yourself and respect the awesome gift of life? Do you practice feeling gratitude for all your experiences, lessons, and blessings? Power that will heal. How do you create wellness and wholeness within? Do you have a regular practice for connecting to spirit? I believe that the best practices for increasing light and keeping our psyche healthy are meditation and prayer, in whatever form is most meaningful for you, which could be contemplation, affirmations, music, art, or moving your body. Connecting to a power greater than yourself eases pain, anxiety, fear, and creates inner peace. I certainly know for me, a walk in nature is a powerful meditative practice. Fuel to help you grow. How often do you see the sky, touch the earth, and gaze at landscapes in the distance or trees moving in the breeze? We are part of the ever-growing, changing, and expansion world of nature. Watching nature do its thing without trying, struggling, or overcomplicating things inspires our spirit to grow. Voice for your inner song. Do you look within and strive to understand and appreciate your thoughts and feelings? Do you find ways to express your unique experience of life? The more you know, the more you grow. As you grow in spirit, you will have tools to express yourself, share your ideas, build and strengthen relationships. The more you discover about yourself, the more easily you'll be able to connect and communicate. Hope that will lead you to serve. How do you serve? Each act of service in the world begins with your inner sense of purpose and connection to your fellow beings and the source of all that is. There is so much work to be done as we look around. The gifts of the divine feminine are needed to bring harmony, peace, balance, love, and compassion to a disconnected world. If you use the powers of the feminine spirit first to heal your inner world, you can bring them forth and help heal, support, and guide the outer world and your children in every way you can imagine. Connecting to your divine feminine allows you to create plans for your highest self. There are endless miracles that can be achieved with the power of your divine feminine connection. Another way we can connect to our divine femininity is to understand and connect to the goddess energies. Goddesses are an ancient aspect of spirituality that incorporate the feminine nature of the creator. Goddesses come from both ancient and modern cultures. By working with the goddesses, you heal and empower your inner feminine wisdom. Your intuition is awakened and your heart chakra is cleared and opened, which results in increased manifestation abilities. As we all awaken our own inner feminine power, our world becomes more balanced, and we move away from the old patriarchal monopoly. Goddess energy also renews our appreciation and respect for Mother Nature and supports the highly sensitive children known as indigo, crystal, and rainbow children who have arrived and are entering the world. One goddess I like to connect to is Ishtar, a great mother goddess and the embodiment of Venus's womanly energy. She represents the divine feminine in all her aspects, including nurturing, mothering, sensuality, fertility, healing, protection, and wisdom. I'm so passionate about this because there is a massive untapped global resource in women who have set aside their wisdom, their skills, and their dreams. Not only is this type of invisible suffering experienced by countless women, this rich resource is a secret weapon for improving our world. Women have the capacity to inspire, to create, to transform. Think about your life. Have you found your life purpose? Do you want to have a career or just be a mum? Are you working in a job that fulfills you and gives your gifts to the world? Do you feel you are living to your potential? Is there something you would like to enhance or connect to that the goddess energies could help you with? Connecting to the divine feminine helps us to understand and create our plans, while our goddess energy helps us to rise up and live those plans. One powerful way we can connect to the divine feminine is through our menstrual cycle. So in modern society, women are so disconnected from their menstrual cycles, our period has come somewhat taboo, remains private and unspoken, or can even make us feel embarrassed and ashamed. Modern women try their hardest to ignore this natural rhythm, cursing their bleed and hating their cycle. The changing hormones within our body can have significant effects on our internal energy, which if we do not honour and accommodate by making changes on the outside, we are pushing against our natural flow and feeling that life is pushing against us. To be able to use the energies of the menstrual cycle effectively, we first need to understand the four main phases of the cycle. Think of seasons of the year. The menstrual cycle is a cycle of creativity. This is because its sole purpose is to create and manifest, from spark to flame to fire to ashes to spark again. It is a symbolic creative process that can be applied to many aspects of life and any creative venture. So winter, earth, I am corresponds to the dark new moon and crone. The winter menstruation brings our focus deep within ourselves. We are no longer interested in the outside world. Our mind may be busy with thoughts from the past, negative experiences or trauma. Winter solstice is the darkest point of the year and a time to study, learn, keep safe and warm. Cramps, tiredness and irritability are all signs that you need to relax into the darkness and look after yourself. It is essential we honour this part of the cycle as it is the most sacred time of the month. Pay attention to your dreams and visions, sleep lots. Spring, air, I think, corresponds to the waxing moon and maiden. So the spring pre-ovulation is a time of new growth. It's a time of innocence and playfulness. Light and warmth are coming back to a dark earth. Everything is fertile and the energy is to nurture new growth, feed it and begin to wake up from the winter's sleep. It is in this phase of the menstrual cycle we'll find the energy to begin projects, develop ideas and plan ahead. Summer, fire, I do, corresponds to the full moon and mother. The summer or ovulation is a time to manifest. The body is open and ready to create. It is highly fertile and flirty. Get out and socialise, work on projects, finish projects. Like in the summer solstice, we rejoice and worship the sun. We need to be connecting to people and relaxing in our outside world. Autumn, winter, I feel, corresponds to the waning moon and the mother or crone. The autumn pre-menstruation is the time of harvest and withdrawal. This energy can be really tough for some women. During this phase, our focus begins to turn inwards in preparation for menstruation. We can feel disconnected from life and our mind can become negative and critical. We harvest and complete projects and tasks, ready to withdraw from the outside world altogether. This phase slows us down and brings our attention back to our own needs. It is during this time that women can feel out of control and suffer from PMS or PMDD. And then binding all of these together is love, ether, space, spirit. It's the balance of all of these elements in life that we need to be healthy and thrive. Are you functioning in a balanced, multifold way in your life? The menstrual cycle just remind us of this need daily, weekly and monthly. If we do not honour these cycles, we can find life harder further along the road. When we realise the process of menstruation is so deeply connected to our spiritual energies, It opens up brand new pathways for healing and living life in sync with nature. Many women still opt for the pill or other hormonal treatments to try and cure the mood swings, stop the pain, or regulate the cycle. This disconnects us from our natural healing and rhythm and stops us from accessing our inner well of power. Women are trying to be good wives, mothers, lovers, siblings, friends, employees, and more. But we also need to be conscious that we are in a constant cycle where our energy ebbs and flows. This is a powerful energy that we just can't ignore. If our natural energy wants to retreat during menstruation but we ignore it, we will almost certainly end up more stressed, tired, and angry. I believe perhaps women with PMS and PMDD are suffering from disconnection from their cycles, working against the body's natural rhythm, and the knock-on effects can be devastating. We need to honour ourselves and allow the body to do what it naturally does to keep us in balance. So moving on to preconception. So this is the fundamental part of the process. We're cultivating a fertile and nourishing ground for our baby to grow and develop in the best way possible. This is about the groundwork. As is the case, so many projects and icebergs, we only see the tip. What we don't see or we're unaware of is the immense foundations set below, which is visible to the eye. As with any building, if the foundations are not strong, based on firm ground and fit for purpose, then the building on top will not be able to withstand many external influences. Not only do we share our genes with our babies, but we also share our microbiota, our virome, our emotions, our cells, foods we eat, products we put on our bodies, pesticides, heavy metals, energy frequencies we're exposed to, relationships we have, the air we breathe, miasms that have come down to us through generations, including pathogens and trapped emotions, and much more. These intergenerational blueprints continue long after they enter the world, and in some cases forever if we are not conscious of them. There is no getting away from the fact that they truly show us on the outside who we unknowingly are on the inside. Just as digestion starts with a thought about food, so too does the energy chain of conception, pregnancy, birthing, and beyond. What are our beliefs? Do we believe and trust we will fall quickly? Do we believe and trust we will be a good mama? What blocks and fears do we hold? What else are we holding on to? We are one, we are whole. We are a multi-connected web of elements in which affects everything else. We need to release in order to create the space for that which serves us and for our baby to grow. We want that space to be a healthy, safe, and nurturing environment with our baby can thrive. In order to do this, we need to detox ourselves on an emotional, physical, and spiritual levels before conception, which involves understanding who we are, where we have come from, and how this can affect us, our subconscious beliefs, and honouring our feminine monthly cycles, and utterly amazing physical bodies that are able to transmute spirit into human form. The importance of detoxing the body and being healthy as a home we can prior to pregnancy and any further pregnancies is clear when we understand that the majority of our toxins are dumped on our first baby. Just as toxins are dumped and carried out of our menstrual blood during menstruation, the same is true for our pregnancies. The good news is that epigenetics, which is the study of how the expression of DNA can be changed without changing the structure of DNA itself, and through such changes we can switch unwanted genes on or off to determine our health, plays a huge role in the health of our children. And there are so many things we can do within our powers to give our babies the healthiest start. So that's a yay for me. So what can we do? We can be aware, curious, and conscious of everything we're putting in, on, and around our bodies. This is a multifaceted approach of an internal and external investigation, which includes foods, drinks, body products, the air we breathe, the electromagnetic frequencies around, any medications we're taking, relationships we're in, the job we do, to know our values and beliefs, use of mobile phones, what we watch, what we listen to, our time in nature, time nurturing ourselves, connecting with our higher power, feeling supported in relationships, finding our tribe, dealing with trapped emotions, asking about what pains in the body could mean, finding time to do what we need to feel well-being. All of this is with the aim to bring ourselves into joyful, peaceful, and heart-centered state, liberated from incessant fears and worries, although we are all human, with which emotions are intricately part of our being, and to become more in alignment with ourselves. It's in this state that we're able to conceive and stay pregnant. Although it is impossible to know how we'll feel once our baby enters our life, we can get to know ourselves and become aware of our emotions and feelings, beliefs, trapped emotions, and patterns and relationships with our parents, so that when things do arise for us, we are in a better position to be able to fully feel them, welcome them, and objectively, gently, and compassionately consider what we need, and to let anything that does not help us reach our highest power to go. So conception. Me, you are growing people, and every single person on this planet formed out of the intersection of a sperm and an egg. 2 microscopic little cells came together, and in 9 very short months, a whole human being emerged. Conception is a sacred time involving a great spiritual opening. It is the energy in which the first cells of the baby develop, and as such, the environment at conception is important. It may happen without that intention. It could happen in an energy of desperation, fear, and attachment, or it could happen in an energy of love, consciousness, compassion, and gentleness. For some, there is a knowing that conception has taken place, and it's a time to welcome a baby into your body and family. My belief is that all spirits who decide to incarnate have chosen their parents for a specific reason. They want the life experiences that we uniquely can offer them. They want to come to experience spirituality in human form, to be able to have choices, experience the emotions and relationships, and to bring their light into the world. By having the energy of love, trust, gentleness, and acceptance, we open the door for that spirit to make their home in us. Pregnancy. What I truly love and am constantly amazed by is the fact that we don't have to do anything for our babies to grow them. Nature, in all of its wonder, truly takes care of that. What we do need to do, however, is to focus on ourselves, take care of ourselves, be mindful of our own well-being, and just be. This is what nurtures, grows, and develops our babies, and in essence, that never stops. And it is mind-boggling that our health during pregnancy not only affects our offspring, but future generations as well. Revolutionary studies have revealed that what we do in this life, diet, mindset, chemical exposures, can directly impact the DNA and health of future generations. This sets us a task worth working for, a task which, if you choose to accept it, is to be fully conscious and awakened through our journey of pregnancy. And I mean this in body, mind, and spirit. I sometimes feel that the modern world can see pregnancy as an illness or nothing special. However, this is an utterly sacred time that needs to be embraced and nurtured. In this modern day, we seem to have lost the way of how to engage with our primary needs when pregnant. We should be thinking about ourselves, our body, our baby, and connecting. We should focus inwards and be with our baby as one. Be curious around any feelings that are coming up at this time, such as what fear am I feeling? Build trust with yourself about what you're feeling and experiencing now. Share how you're feeling, what you need to thrive and embrace the process on a deep cellular level. Be the creator of you and your baby's growth. Get the care you need. It can be said that you are what your mother eats during pregnancy and how you are cared for in your early years, but it goes much deeper than this. There are also intergenerational factors involved with the passing down of energetic ancestral emotions, toxins, and blueprints, which is for another time. However, the good news is that we can control what is within our powers to do so, and one of those is nutrition for us and our baby. By eating whole, organic, where possible, and unprocessed food, we are setting our baby up for their best start in life. The microbiota, or bacteria in a mother's body during birth and during the early months of an infant's developing system, determine in a significant way whether that child will be sick or healthy, whether they'll be slim or overweight in later life. The human microbiome is by and large a product of what we eat. Other factors do interplay here as well. Our overall lifestyle and the environment in which we were raised. It is mostly malleable in infancy and early childhood. And by the time the children start school, of school age, the general balance of their microbiome has been established. Another reason to eat healthily during pregnancy is evidence suggesting the foods we eat may have an impact on our child's future food preferences and fussiness over tastes and textures, known as sensory programming. It's also the case that the baby is inoculated from mama during the journey down the birth canal. And by optimising the gut health, this also improves the birthing inoculation of mama's microbiota for baby to receive. Many studies have found that the environment around us does affect our babies through toxins being found in our umbilical cords. The placenta is not a sterile environment, and many substances are passed in there from mama. Therefore, what we put into our bodies, what's in our home environment, and the environment of where we spend our time is of great importance. A low chemical, natural environment positively impacts the development of our baby's microbiome. Consider any products you use on your body, any medications you take while pregnant, any chemicals used around the home, and what is in the environment where you spend the most of your time. This is an extensive consideration as it includes clothing, beds, bedding, makeup products, lotions, scented candles, paints, the vehicles you travel in, anything around you can smell and your body comes into contact with. But once we're aware of how these things can affect us, we are in a position to be able to do something about it for the higher health of us and our babies. Another thing to consider is electromagnetic radiation and dirty electricity that we're exposed to during pregnancy and beyond. This includes any electrical devices such as mobile phones, Wi-Fi routers, laptops, TV, fridges, mobile phone masts, electricity pylons, etc., and baby monitors. It's also been found that where a mother sleeps in relation to Wi-Fi radiation has a huge impact on the health of her child. Being aware of the EMFs in your home, protecting yourself and turning off Wi-Fi at night will all help in reducing the impact upon your baby. Having had 2 children, I'm fully aware of the bond I have with them. And the amazing thing is that this isn't only created because we share the body with our babies, but because we share cells during pregnancy. Mama cells go into baby and baby cells circulate back into mama. The process is called fetal maternal microchimerism. Turns both mother and child into chimeras harbouring little pieces of each other. That means that we have cells from our children knitted into our body, bones and brain, not forgetting that we also carry cells from our mamas and from our grandmas. We can even have cells from older siblings who may have given some cells to our mamas who then gave them to us. This boundary blurring is incredible and can be the reason why we feel so connected and affected by our families. These cellular threads tie families together in ways that scientists are just starting to discover. So as you may have been aware from what's been presented so far, we are innately connected and intertwined with our babies and everything on the planet. We are at one when we are pregnant with our baby, and every feeling, thought and energetic exchange is felt by these pure light energies. As is our physical treatment of our bodies felt by our baby, so too is mama's view of life and the world understood by the child. They are aware energetically of what we are thinking, feeling and saying, and as mamas we set them up for the type of world they are going to be born into. Incredibly, we even shape the brain for that world. The more we can be aware of any negative views of ourselves and the world, the more able we will be to release them and not only feed our baby the nourishing food and drinks we consume, but they will also be nourished by our light, loving, hopeful and trusting thoughts. So when we become pregnant, we understand the baby will be leaving our body and entering into their new world. And I believe with most things, it's best to prepare and train for that task in order to be the best shape possible. Often muscles need to be flexed and worked, the load needs to be lightened and space cleared. Pregnancy is no different and birthing is certainly no different. We need to train our bodies and minds to prepare for birth. We need strong legs and body to help us into the journey. We wouldn't go on a marathon without training, and birthing can be one of the toughest physical challenges we as women can go through. So during pregnancy, be conscious of preparing for an active birth in whatever way you enjoy the most. There are numerous supports: eating the right kind of food, keeping active in yoga or active birth classes, dancing, gardening, walking, practicing mindfulness, understanding the process of birthing as the body working in harmony with baby, understanding the need to surrender control and let things happen as they should. Or whatever you find to enjoy, just find something you do. There really is something out there for everyone, for every mama. So I love looking to the animal kingdom for cues on life, and birthing is an instance where they tell us so much. When you see animals such as horses, cows and hippos giving birth, you can see they have no fear, stress or anguish around delivering their babies, and they don't require help. It's a natural, innate and amazing experiences in which their bodies and babies know what to do. Us mamas are truly no different. We are the incredible vessel for spirit to enter physical. We are designed to birth babies. Our modern society has created much fear around birthing, medicalised the process and inferred that the mother needs help and cannot do it herself. In essence, women have ended up handing over their power. I would say, as I said before the presentation, that preparation is key. By cultivating a mindset and body that feels fit, able and up to the task, we can enter the birthing process with a trust, ease and centeredness that gives our bodies and babies the best chance of working together in the incredible way they innately know how. Unlike how we see mamas giving birth in the media, lying on our backs can be one of the most ineffective ways to birth. Mothers can dance around, squat, lean on a gym ball, do whatever movement feels right for you, and it's good to know that as a mama it is your choice. Other choices that we have where we wish to birth our babies, such as at the home, hospital or birthing unit, who we want there to support us and how we'd like to be treated during the birthing process. In addition to how we approach birthing, there are various natural ways to assist us, including homeopathy, essential oils, reflexology, flower essences. And studies have shown that taking homeopathy has reduced labour lengths and mamas had fewer complications. Although you may have done much work on releasing baggage prior to getting pregnant and during pregnancy, it may be the case that anxieties and trapped emotions can still get expressed, which surface as pain during birthing. The more baggage we hold on to makes for a more painful birth. If we can reduce stresses as much as possible, then we enable the autonomic nervous system to let things flow. Then the most incredible experience of all, we get to meet our baby. No one can possibly explain that feeling from such a huge surge of oxytocin, the love hormone. There are many things that can be done for the baby once they're born, but being aware and mindful of what happens during birth, after birth, such as skin contact, how we deal with the cord, or we wrap them in, who else holds them, anything they're given, how they're fed, we need to ask ourselves, is this truly the best thing for me and my baby? Moving on to the 4th trimester. Our personal identity, as we know it, shifts. We need time to acknowledge, process, and embrace that we have become a different person. We are no longer a maiden, but have become mother. How truly extraordinary is that? This should be a time of bonding with our baby, of rest and healing. We may need support in feeding and help with doing the daily tasks we need in order to remove things from our daily schedules during this time. It's a time of many emotions. Within 48 hours, most of the pregnancy hormones drop and our body shifts mode again. The uterus contracts and organs are starting to shift back into place. What we need to be aware of is any birth trauma or unresolved issues that mamas can experience at this time, which can surface. In modern day life, we can feel isolation, which is destructive to our psyche. We can feel we're struggling, adjusting to the immense changes, and perceive that everyone else is doing amazingly. However, we do not know what we cannot see or feel, and it's highly likely that other new mamas do feel the same. Getting support in any way possible is so important at this time, and will ensure that we can eat supportive and nourishing foods to build up the body, help milk supply, and help to heal and ground you. In the journey of being an awakened mama, we need to accept and be okay with how imperfect and messy it may all feel, and it is. How it doesn't feel or look like you expect, and may even feel like chaos. But understand and trust that magic is born out of chaos. There is no such thing as a perfect child. We have so many fantasies before we have our children. We realise that this is just not the case. Be human and relax into yourself. Be gentle on yourself and on your children. What we also need to be aware of is that the body changes significantly after pregnancy. The abdominals, hips, bladder, uterus, intestines all need to reshape, realign and heal. Issues can arise because we are not nurtured or able to recover. During childbirth, the woman's body facilitates the passage of the child by relaxing the ligaments, which allows the hips to open. Following the birth, this process is reversed, and helping the hips go back to their normal width is important. Otherwise, mamas can suffer from pelvic instability. Many women suffer from hip issues in our society, which could be due to the lack of healing and closing the body post-birth, which also leaks energy. The hips support the weight of the spine and head, and they are therefore the seat of unresolved emotions and trauma, which can be felt upon the hips as adrenaline crystals, which need to be popped and released. Otherwise, just like any trapped toxin, they can cause physical problems. On a deeper emotional and spiritual level, unresolved emotional tension and trauma needs to be released to allow mama's energy to be drawn back into her creative centre, her womb. This enables mamas to feel put back together, sealed, safe, nurtured and cared for. It's important to close a new mother energetically, having gone through a deeply opening process of pregnancy, labour and childbirth, which can leave a mum feeling empowered but also vulnerable. There are many ways we can be supported after childbirth, both through the community and therapies and natural remedies, so please find the support that works for you. So other cultures, such as communities in Tibet and Ecuador and those practicing Ayurveda, understand the immense journey that the woman has gone through during pregnancy and childbirth, the need for bonding, the need for support and space and time for the body to heal. These communities are a tribe, so as very young children, girls are around childbirth and able to witness the feminine body in action. Elder women taught and passed down wisdom from the generations that kept the tribe alive and healthy. Women have support, connection with other women, knowledge and belonging. During pregnancy, many rituals are practiced which support women and enhance their well-being, such as belly dancing, which was designed for women to birth actively and support each other through the dance of spirit coming down, manifesting into human form, which then continues into the dance of life. They use herbs, singing, guidance from spiritual leaders, massages and baths to provide needed nourishment. The village join together to ensure the mama is not overly stressed or takes part in jarring activities, and fathers and extended families are intimately involved in the gestation process. As a result, women feel powerful, loved, relaxed, and are able to dream of how they will be when their baby is born, and they're able to fill their body with love. It's believed that walking during pregnancy exercises the child, in Tibetan culture this is, and walking exercises the child makes the child's body supple, provides it with firm, upright body, and paves the way for a quick and easy birth. They have a series of spiritual activities, daily ritual of prayer, don't eat foods that are too hot, too cold, too spicy, or too sour. They eat nourishing foods and care not to overeat. They don't have alcohol, nicotine or caffeine during pregnancy, and also reduce sugar intake. And I also love their beliefs about birth, that each birth connects lives from beginningless time and boundless space. In the areas where Ayurveda is practiced, once a mother has birth, she's rested for 40 days to bond with her baby, recover, heal and feed. She's fed the right foods and spices to help her body heal, and she's acknowledged and supported following the huge undertaking her body has been through. So for us awakened mamas, it's important to understand what's been passed down and what culture we sit with. Unfortunately, our modern culture no longer holds these values or traditions, and there is no thread to give us the passage wisdom or the archetypal passage we go through from maiden to mother and then mother to crone. We need to learn to embrace each part of the journey. We can bring our past selves along with us, but she needs to evolve or she dies. Once we're aware of the importance of these aspects, we can create a space for them in our lives. So conscious parenting and the mama's journey. So why are we having children? That is quite a deep question to consider, isn't it? Are we using our child to validate us? Are we wanting them to be good because we weren't? Are we playing our fantasy life through our child? Do we want to display them on social media to make us feel good? Are we pushing that need for social validation upon them? Or have we brought them onto the earth so they can manifest their truest expression? Many mamas go through mamahood with little realisation of how much they influence and burden their children with their childhood patterns, cultural conditioning and unresolved issues. They may never question what this means for their children, nor delve deeply into who their children really are. The conscious mama journey is one where us mamas take it upon ourselves to embrace tasks and skills we need in order to reduce the burdens we place on our children. We are challenged to grow up, stabilise, mature, change, organise ourselves and reduce the baggage we bring to the relationship. We realise that the child is not us, and we learn to delineate where we end and our child begins in order to help them grow to be who they are meant to be. Children come to show us one fundamental truth, indestructible truth about the universe, that we only have control over our selfhood, no one else. Children defy definition, defy description, and transcend judgment. How can we enter that space and dance with them? Well, we divorce ourselves from any idea that the answer lies in our child's behaviour. In order to raise children, we need to raise ourselves first. There is no doubt that we are challenged to evolve when we have children. It is an immersion experience. When we become a mama, we open up to the past, trapped emotions and insecurities, and the future in a way that we haven't done before. The relationship with our mama is very powerful, both positive and negative, and we relive our relationships with our parents through being a parent. When these emotions arise, we can ask ourselves, what am I bringing to the dynamic? What is triggering me? What is reminding me of my past? Why am I putting this on my child? What are my dominant patterns? Do I know my purpose? Mumhood is about the moment, about the process, about your love and connection and relationship. We need to be full. We need to feel fulfilled spiritually, so our identity is within us as an authentic, connected mama. Children already have alignment, authenticity, success. They are here to be abundantly whole in the present moment. They are not plagued by the drudgeries we are. Our awareness enables us to minimise putting our fears, anxieties and wants onto them. When we become a mama, we can enter the present moment, reacquaint what it means to be a child ourselves and enter our full-on presence. So often we are not living in the present moment, which means we're living in the past or the future. Depression is looking at the past and not liking what you have, who you are, what's happened or where you've been. Anxiety is looking into the future and fearing what you don't want. Fear tends to scatter the mind into frantic fleeing, fighting or freezing. However, calm and peace is living in the now, in the spirit, the true nature of who we are. So as you tune into your body, register that you are okay now, and now, and now. There is no right or wrong. There is just love in the present moment. And it is in this place that we are able to connect with our children. The importance of this is that babies and children don't understand language, but they look at eye movements, facial expressions. Is mama frowning or smiling? Is the mama's body relaxed or contracted? What tone of voice or prosody is being used? Babies mirror our breathing and are able to tell if we are in contracted awareness, when we have a feeling of separation or contraction. Babies reflect our neurons, so if we are in contracted awareness, they too will go into contracted awareness in a phenomenon called mirror neurons. However, when we are conscious of this, we are able to center ourselves in spirit. We can shift into the now, a state of expanded awareness. As a mama looking at our baby through eyes of love, with compassion, empathy, joy, understanding and equanimity, we gain new intuition, new creative insights, choice making, new imagination, new context, new meaning, new stories. It is in this state that we are able to gain intuitive insight and allow our babies and children to do the same. Guilt, self-curiosity and introspection, or going inward, is for the service of awakening, where we can be aware of symbolism, mindfulness and the beast of the ego. As an awakened mama, we can do parenting differently. We can look at ourselves, look to raise our own level of consciousness and evolve to a new height. Children are here to usher us into our new growth, to show us our path to our own greatest evolution. We need to find tools and understanding of how to accept the invitation. Not only can we be conscious about our own baggage, beliefs and desires, we can also be conscious about the environment in which our children are living. The world is a very different place to how it was, say, 20 years ago. We need to be aware of and question what we believe is truth and what we haven't previously questioned. These include the use of technology and electromagnetic frequencies from many sources, nutrition, water, air, products we use, any heavy metals passed down, antibiotics and medications, vaccines, social media, plastics, pesticides, chemical toxins, clothing, and the list goes on. We can consider what is happening, what is around us and touching us, and question if it is right for our child. It is also beneficial to be aware of the various phases and stages to which babies and children develop and grow. This awareness helps hugely in the understanding of what they are going through. They experience developmental leaps and developmental childhood diseases during which they regress and are emotionally scattered. But by being curious to what is going on, thinking differently about what we believe to be true, we can enter a new paradigm, one in which we are awakened. So are we living in a manner that is mindful and conscious, transforming paradigms, or are we stagnant, regurgitating patterns of the past simply because that's the way it's done? We are each a story, and despite surface differences, we all hold at our core the irrefutable influence, the thunderous power of Mama. We have the power to create a different type of resilience in our children, which looks within the self to flourish. It all begins with our own level of consciousness. Are we going to commit to and find the courage to change the paradigm in our home? So what our children need from us. From the moment of conception begins a dance of co-creation where both mama and child are inextricably linked, influencing each other moment after moment. We didn't create the child's temperament, but where our power comes in is how we react to that temperament. It is here in our reaction, our energetic vibe, in the way we enter the dance, where we hold our strength and where we need to take the responsibility. The human brain does 80% of growing in the first 3 years of life. Genetics guide the growth of brain and the skull, but do not completely design the brain. Instead, genes prepare the brain to be adaptable, hardwiring itself according to the experiences and environment in which your child grows up. Because experiences have a direct impact on brain development, they are especially vulnerable to negative experiences in these first vital years. As a result of being an awakened mama, we are able to start to understand what is going on for us and our child. Us mamas need to go into our heart. The heart has greater energetic signals than the brain and is the centre of the spirit, whilst the head is the centre of the ego, trying to keep us safe and where we are. Strength comes from the integration, the embodiment of our inner state. We need to allow all feelings to be felt and appreciated. That children need us to show up conscious, aware, deliberate, and on purpose, to recognise the divinity in ourselves before we try and tell them how life should be. We need to ask ourselves, do I feel worthy? Do I feel good enough? It is to forge our own unique path, learn meditation, learn wisdom. This isn't about being a martyr or a victim. This is about being a creator. When the mama springs free and realises she is autonomous, whole, complete, and free in her own self, the clarity of her presence allows her children to express their greatest, deepest humanity. Our children need us to put importance on our self-care. That may sound surprising, but the importance of self-care is huge. It's essential that mamas look after ourselves so we are able to give to our children and the world. The mama supports, educates, and inspires. The mama heals and nourishes. A depleted mama has no resources to give to her children. We need to ensure our tank is filled and we are receiving our essential needs. The fitter we are in body, the greater spiritual fitness we can attain. We need to connect to unchanging truths so we can be grounded. When we discover the eternal truths, which is to find a greater capacity to dwell within this world, endure the struggles of this world, and ultimately connect with the deepest version of ourselves, we shine and allow our children to do so. So fill your tank. They need us to create greater connective experiences and healthy boundaries. What are your sacred boundaries? These are the boundaries that truly matter to you after thought about why they matter, and they naturally involve with your child. They need us to let go of social constructs, material wealth, and expectations of how we want things to be. It is conflict that destroys families, not the unmet expectations we place upon them. In the quest for perfection, there is no possibility of expansion. What they don't need is control, where they get stripped of autonomy and self-direction and make no decisions. They need to be autonomous, independent, responsible, self-directed, and have self-control over their lives. We need to understand that everybody, including our children, are doing the best they can all the time. They need space where they can be. Let yourself and your child just be. They need space to unfold and enlighten themselves to their destiny. We want so much for our children, so our biggest challenge is letting go, letting them experience life and find their own path. As I said earlier, our children choose us to be their mamas. We are the right person to give them the life experiences they need to become the person they are here to be. We are their guardians and here to guide them as far as they want to be guided. They know they need to find their own path, own hero's journey, own dharma. The experiences they have make them the person they are meant to be, and we cannot take that away from them, as hard as it is, even our own children. Life is just as it is, and our children are the same. The only way to truly protect our children against their inevitable reactions and journey in life is to process it with them, meet it head on, discuss the emotions, create literacy around the emotions, and to trust that because of the connection we have with our children, they will be buffered enough. When our child triggers us, we need to hold the space free of our baggage and ask, what does my child need right now? Do they need connection or boundaries? We have the power to hold that space, to be able to listen to the unfolding of our child's spirit. If we do it other ways, teach to fight back and avoid the pain of pain, we cripple them. With a deeply connected relationship, a deeply committed, engaged relationship, there should be no use of manipulation, control, or coercion. The power of the relationship can guide our child. The clarity of our own life is the greatest teacher. The power of the mama presence is so enormous that if we truly know ourselves, our place in the world, and our connection to our spirit, our children won't need discipline or any manipulative techniques. The clarity of our presence is powerful enough. They truly need us to relax, let go, have fun, play, laugh, send out love, feel joy in the present moment, embrace life, and wholly embrace the adventure. When we live this way, knowing who we truly are, we can give our children the gift to last their entire life, to have the deepest connection with themselves, and to know who they truly are. So our thoughts about how our thoughts influence our children. Everything in the world is a form of the same kind of vibrational energy and is connected within the same energy matrix. We truly are all one and from the same big clump of source energy. The universal or God's energy is intelligent and creative, and it transmutes into things straight from its original form. How? It starts with thoughts. Thoughts are one of the lightest forms of energy which are capable of changing in a moment. They attract life experiences which mirror and reflect the content of our thoughts and feelings back to us. This means that your mind is a powerhouse and has a strong attraction-based engine, and because of this, it attracts things to it that correspond precisely to the thoughts and feelings that are given out. With your mind, you are the most attractive thing in the universe. So when we put our energy and thoughts onto our children, how we see them, perceive them, think about them, they pick up on that energy and agree to be just like that. So choose the positive, choose to see their light. By truly connecting with them, their wants, desires, loves, and fears, we can shower them with a loving energy which assists their journey to their highest self. Summary. So what is an awakened mama? What is the process of the inner journey of motherhood, and how do we navigate this new inner journey? We become a different person at every milestone of our life, experiences, relationships, stages in life, and motherhood is a major identity formation. We have evolved once again. We need to take time to acknowledge that and process the change and embrace our new identity. If we don't do this, we become functional survivors. Our inner world becomes unwitnessed. We forget who we are. It is so important for us to keep growing and evolving. We need a place to process this, which we haven't learned. The mamahood template has not been passed down to us, so it is our job to make our own. I see preparing for mamahood as turning inward, releasing, letting go, making space, and preparing strong and healthy foundations at every stage, from preconception of the detox, trapped emotions, conception of surrendering to the process and trust, pregnancy, listening to your body and going inward. Birthing is much about release and letting go and surrendering to the process. It is being an awakened mama. Surrender, let go, go with the flow, and ride the journey. We can expect, want, project, rage, react when we default to a sense of lack. We put judgment on our experiences based on our very conditioned mind. There is no good or bad. We live in a conditioned world, and we need to understand that these conditions are not the truth. In the conflict of trying to fight and impose our own agenda, it is here that we are asked to release, and in doing so, we free ourselves from the past. Our children are not ours, and the challenge is to enter their life with presence, attunement, and mindfulness. As we enter mamahood and may try to control life and micromanage it, stop and pause. Ask, what is the as is? My child is their own unique, special being with their own feelings, so how can we enter into their world and meet it without our agenda? We can if we see the beauty of it and not get caught up in the chaos. We don't have power over any being, let alone our children. We need to be aware of our adult temper tantrums when life simply doesn't follow our lead. We need to accept the paradoxes. Our life is not either or. We will hold two opposite experiences at the same time. We need to accept all of that to embrace who we are now. It is hard and it is wonderful. One does not diminish the other. We need to accept things for what and who they are, not what we want them to be. Our thoughts are not us. There is an us beyond our thoughts. I like to call it mind mastery or spiritual fitness. As awakened mamas, we need to deconstruct the delusions we are living in. We need to deconstruct the mind in order to break free from the mind. We need to relinquish control. We have no control over anyone or life. Go with the flow and embrace the unique and magical beings who have come into our lives. Our inner spiritual work creates inner peace, which our children and the world see reflected as love, hope, and inspiration. The choices we make about our diet, lifestyle, behaviour, our life purpose and awareness of what is around, on, and goes in us and our children can directly impact the health of our children, grandchildren, and even more distant generations. This means that we don't just pass down our genes, we also pass down the consequences of the choices we make. That is some responsibility. The mama is the garden in which our children grow. We need to keep that garden healthy, vibrant and alive, rather than one of dead grass and plants devoid of diversity and abundance. Our children need us to be the best we can be, to show up in the world as who we are. Our challenge is to create a culture of vitality in our lives, because we live in a culture of depletion. Life is precious, with all of its obstacles, triumphs, ups and downs, challenges and breakthroughs. Mamahood encompasses all of these and more. None of us are perfect. We are human and we are here to experience human emotions. They are an innate part of life. Mamahood is a steep learning experience. Do not try to be perfect, because in the quest for perfection, there is no possibility of expansion. What we can aim for is awareness of our emotions, behaviours, feelings, choices, so we can be on the right path to being able to create our best world. So as we grow with our children, evolve together and become awakened together, we create space for more light to come into our life and more light to share with our world. We understand the world of form and materiality versus the other, a sense of abundance, oneness, healing, emergence, seeking connectivity. When we understand who we truly are and respect and love ourselves and are tuned into our life purpose, we'll be able to see them for who they really are. So they will be able to feel their life matters and that others' lives of the well-being of the planet truly matter. They will know that they are perfect. Creating change happens gradually, so be gentle with yourself. While some things can be stopped cold turkey, real sustainable change mostly takes a lot longer. Shifting paradigms, filling our head with appropriate tools, words, responses and reactions, learning what our defaults are so we can reprogram them, are how we learn to grow. I am passionate about the Awaken Mama because by making healthy families, we all contribute to the world. Making and creating healthy, balanced families can change the next generations. Healthy children who can love and be loved. Children who are connected, who value who it is they are, who honour their heart, who can find expression to their own voice, who know that their essence matters and can shine their light out to the world. This is our sacred mandate as a mama, to honour the spirit before us. So, actionable steps. There are many things we can do to help us detach from the culture of lack, unconsciousness, competition, fear, and our childhood conditioning, and awaken to our mamahood. First, we need to recreate the foundational wellness supports to get body and mind functioning well. Look at all the elements that make up your life and where you are out of balance. Be aware of your minimum requirements for self-care. Be conscious of what you are coming into contact with and open your mind to whether it feels right for your body. Consider what you are putting into your body, what you put on your body, what you are smelling, wearing, using. Does it serve you and our planet? If not, give it thanks and let it go. The heart is the leader, the mind is the soldiers. Understanding the nurturing and wise feminine versus the powerful warrior goddess. What do you need to be able to live both? Walking, dancing, painting, sewing, reading, connecting with nature, horse riding, yoga, martial arts, the list is endless. Find your life passion and do it every day. Your sense of self will fade into oblivion when you end flow. Find out what you need to feel vital, alive and connected. Ground yourself. When we feel grounded in a sense of centre, we are more resilient, fear less and seek our truths more. When we are not grounded, we feel scattered, stressed, which does not serve our health or well-being. This also makes us more distracted and impulsive and more prone to conflicts with others. Children are no different. Grounding can neutralise powerful charges with negative electrons from the earth and has a healing response in the body. You can connect your body to the earth using a grounding mat, crystals, connecting your body to the earth, or eating whole foods. Begin working with your natural menstrual cycle. Observe, listen, and feel the energies. Be aware of any imbalance and become able to correct it. Practice an attitude of gratitude. Think of 5 things before going to bed each night or upon waking that you are thankful for. We will have so much going on in our lives that blessings can get trampled on. Meditate. Connect to your spirit in a way that is right for you. Create practices that keep you connected there. It's a marriage, commitment, dedication to enlivening your mind and to liberating your mind. You can rewire your brain. Breathe. Through your nose, deeply, right into your lungs, extending lower parts of our lungs tapped into nerve endings and sends messages to the limbic system to send you into calm. A focus on the breath allows us to enter the present and accept the transient nature of life. It is meditative. Use essential oils, which are powerful because the olfactory nerve is hardwired into the limbic, the oldest part of the brain. Our thoughts do not need to get involved. Accept the isness. Do not distract from or push away what's going on. Sit with it, accept it, and be aware of it. Be okay with what is in your experience. Get used to feeling. Thoughts and emotions are very transient, just as we see in children. Feel and then let it go. Understand your sacred boundaries. With conscious awareness, what are your continually evolving limits that truly matter to you? Practice equanimity. Breathe. Start again. Ask, how can I regain balance, adapt, shift, and be present to the moment as it is unfolding? Always possible, not always easy. Read, watch, listen, consider, try, ask. Abandon beliefs that hurt you. Intentionally work to keep your mind open. Learn what a paradigm shift is. Look for 2 paradigms you hold so you can get better at identifying them. Ask for help when needed. Try tapping. Learn where the neurovascular points are and do some simple tapping sequences. Putting one hand behind the skull and the other on the forehead and gently squeezing in while breathing deeply calms us and is great for children too. Practice feeling states you want to feel. First decide what you want to feel, then find something to think about that evokes that feeling. And third, milk it for all it's worth. Appreciate how easy it is to feel how you want to feel. Connect with nature. Breathe fresh air, walk along the beach, sit on the grass, walk in the woods. Nature is an elixir, a cure-all, a way of getting back into the groove of life and love and alignment with self and others. It's endlessly available and it's totally free. Lucky us. Mother Nature truly nurtures our spirit. Let the goodness of this magnificent planet fill your love and kindness tanks right up. And find a tribe. Seek people with the same interests who support you, who are open-minded, who are like-minded and like-hearted. So to wrap this presentation up, I will say that following the norm carrying on as it always has been. Martyrdom and victimhood do not serve you nor your children. Find the tools that work for you. You are the architect. It is up to you to plan, create, and sustain your life of thriving. We can cultivate a stance of pure intention with trust in the outcome and detachment from it, self-resourcefulness and openness to receive the best for our life. Only we can vibrate for ourselves in creating our lives. No one else can. Choose to be the creator. Learn to trust human development, not just before birth, but all the way through, because that innate wisdom, that profound intelligence, that beingness that just knows how to survive and grow and thrive is way beyond anything we need to or can control. I call you to action in order to awaken hearts, give permission to recapture dreams, and provide the tools to forge a brighter path for your children. What direction will you choose to go? Only in perfect perfection on this adventure, please. It's incredible, it's magic, it's divinity. It's the Awakened Mama's journey. Thank you so much for listening.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna put my video back.
Bravo!
Yes.
Encore! Encore!
Yes.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning. I could listen to you for another 2 hours.
I got it written for another 2 hours.
Well, Ita, before she started, she said that she's like, I did no way
Stunning,
staying for
Kirstie.
20 minutes. And I was like, that's okay. That is totally fine.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Stop it.
So, okay, so I've got lots and lots and
It
lots
was
of things to
so,
say.
it was so amazing.
Two.
Stunning. It was like really very divine.
Mm-hmm.
Listening. Do I hear you?
Did it make you want to be a better parent, better grandparent, better person? It sure made me want to do that.
Yes. Yes.
A little freaked out
It
going,
was
okay.
so comprehensive.
Yes.
Kirstie, it was so comprehensive. And what my thought was that continue grow was you are totally
Good stuff. Can't hear.
Okay, we lost you just for a second, and can you repeat that?
Yes, I was saying that I had this thought early on, but it continued to grow, and that is that this information that can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Ita, can you mute just for a sec?
This information.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right, so do you want me to talk now?
Yep.
Okay, so the information that you gave Kirstie was just riveting, and it really was so well said. You write beautifully, and I think that you should write a book. I mean, that you could make a book just out of what you gave us.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
No, and that's not just lip service. I was thinking exactly the same thing, Anne. I thought, wow, her writing is just amazing. And like the organization, it was very cohesive. It was really like the points were extremely powerful. It like one thing led to another. It had flow.
Yes.
It was like
fantastic transitions. Yeah.
Totally. Like, yeah, you should write a book. This should be, you could do a program and a book. Like this is your thing. At least one of them anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel passionate about
so
this.
Well developed. Something I'd like to do. I need to learn from you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
it's amazing how we could all talk basically the same ideas and yet focus. Like it's like when you do the summits, so many people have like the same title, but everyone has like their unique approach and unique way of reaching people. Even with it can't be really the same because it's divine. Divine is infinite. And each of us has that unique way of expressing something of a growth, of growing. It was just magnificent. I enjoyed that so much. I wish I just could give it over to so many people that are just so stuck in the other paradigm of control and fear and limitation.
Yes.
And this is just like it's so liberating. It's like this is freedom. empowerment. I had my doula class today, and I expressed myself as far as like the power in the pain, you know. And there were 2 young whippersnappers in the class who are studying to be doulas, and they're like, you know, if you can have a baby without feeling any pain, like, why not? Like, that's part of it, you know, like, why not? That's all happiness for everybody. It's like you're giving up like what you cannot buy. You cannot buy that. To be able to feel an intensity. And I said, your baby's going through pain. You have such an opportunity to be with that baby in your mental space, to be one with that baby, to feel, you know, both of you feeling a pain of growth. And they just were like, you know, they were just like angry at me. They said, well, they said, if you have a root canal and toothache, you shouldn't take painkillers. I said, what does that have to do with giving birth?
Yeah, that's
It's
the
amazing.
thing.
Amazing how they're growing up with such a, you know, such a paradox, such a propaganda. It's amazing. And this was after we saw the film, the part of the film, The Business of Being Born, and somehow they didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get it. So it was really, that's the way things have to be. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Glad you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed writing it. I love writing it. But yeah, like you say, I just didn't know where to start. There was so much stuff. I was like, oh.
Well, it's like you couldn't, because your scope, I mean, I think actually with what you set out to do, I don't think you had too much or anything extra. Like, this was meant to be this length. And, you know, if it was, so whoever is going into something like this, like, that's what you would do. Oh, Ita, can you just mute just for a sec? Somebody's got some background noise. Yeah, thank you. And then, so when you have something like this, like, then you decide how you want to deliver it and where and when, right? Like, it's not a 20-minute. It's, you know, a little bit more, it's meatier, it's juicier, it's, you know, so it's like, honestly, it's a program, or again, it could be like an hour webinar for sure. You know, or like, you know, where you're in person presenting this, or like Anne said, a book, you know. And I think like, yeah, it could be a book, at least like a really nice size PDF. I have to say one thing about that, I'm still getting background noise somewhere. I'm not sure where. If everybody who's not talking could just mute just for a second until you talk, that'd be awesome. Thank you. So when you are like, oh, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Okay. So again, beautifully written. I loved listening to you, and I love listening to you deliver it as well. The only thing I would say is that and these slides are gorgeous, by the way. I love that you chose indigo as your color. And then the highlights were like mauve, because mauve is a very creative color. You know, it's very much about personal expression. I like, these colors were just beautiful. I've never seen like a presentation with these colors before. So I was like, wow, it was part of the experience. Yes. But also I think with the amount of text, like, okay, this is what you're saying you're learning from me. Like, don't learn that from me, because it's too much text. And that's like, it's me like being too busy to chunk it out into like 500 slides. But I think you could use some more slides, because then some of those points you made, actually, some of them weren't even on the slide. It was in the writing itself, right? So you're trying to find, so I'm thinking like a few instances, like pulling some of those things that I thought were really significant that didn't end up on the slide, or like having a few more that you could, or like some things highlighted maybe just to go, bam, okay, I know where she's at. Bam, I know where she's right in the course of your presentation. Because some of it I was like, where are you? And then some of them were differently organized as far as what you were saying and what was on the slide. Yeah. Right? So I don't want it to take away from what you're saying. I want it to enhance what you're saying. So they were competing. So if somebody's talking in the background, if we could just mute, that'd be good. I think it might be Anne. Anne, mute. So
it's not me.
No.
I thought you're on mute. Okay, awesome. I don't know who, but anyway, so I'm hearing some, but that's okay. Yeah, so I'm just thinking like, okay, you are, oh, I can see you on mute. Sorry about that. Okay, and so, yeah, I don't want what you're saying and the text right, to be competing. So it's because sometimes I find myself trying to read where you're at and then listen to you at the same time. So just like, just working on the slides, but man, it was so awesome. It was really great. I really enjoyed it. And I'm going to let people have some more, like, jump in there. I do have some more things like for feedback for you, but I want everybody to be able to have a chance to say something.
I'm driving and I'm almost to my destination, so I'm going to wait till I get there and then I'll chime in.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, so, I really think the discussion, like, let's talk about content. Okay, so the discussion that you raise is so vital. And I think, you talked about Western culture and how we've sort of forgotten and become disconnected. And in a way, like, and this isn't anything to do with the presentation at all, because I think we need to talk about that. But it makes me personally daunted, because honest to goodness, there are barely any people that I talk to that are on board with this. They want to have their epidural. They want to forget. They're like my own sister that I was supposed to be there. I told you about this. For her birth, she was prepping, doing hypnobirthing, but then in the end ended up with a C-section because she got scared into it, because that was her place where she was giving birth, was in the hospital. And there was no reason why she needed to have a C-section in any way. And so it's just like we're surrounded by it, and the fear. And I love how you were talking about other animals. I love those pictures. I'm like such a sucker for mom baby pictures. I'm like, look at the gorillas. Oh, they're so adorable. They're babies, and the koala on her mom's back. And I love that, because it really connects us to other moms in nature, and reminds us that we have this wisdom and we've thought ourselves out of it. Right? Like, we're so smart that we don't even know what we used to know. Like, we sort of think, right? We're thinking here and not here. So, what you're doing, Kirstie, is reminding us of those things that make us human. And like that whole autonomy piece. I mean, honestly, like, I'm with Anne. I think this needs to be like a book. It needs to be definitely, if, like in a little bit of time or whatever, it'd be great to work on a project and release it for, other students, like, people coming up, like, as, a mentorship program or whatever, like, or offer it, or offer it as a, like just as a standalone program. I think it's really good, and it needs barely any tweaking.
Oh, I'd love to. And there's so much more to expand on as well, isn't there? There's so much more that we could do as well. So
I think so too. Yeah. And I think part of the sell, like, I think a lot of people, there's a certain group of people that it would attract, but I think it should attract every mom, every woman. I think it should, but it won't, because people are like scared of the word goddess. They're scared of the word. They're like, weird. I don't want to deal with my menstrual cycle. But, it's all in the way that it's presented, and the way, so I'm starting to work with some marketing people again. But I need them because, and so be able to figure out how to do that, then you can, like, how we're always like preaching to the choir, right? And we need that. Like, you really inspired me again, and I'm all over this stuff. But also those people that just don't get it. Like, how Ita was saying, like, people are in this doula program and they still aren't getting it. They're still, right? So why is that? It's because we haven't been taught, and we are doing this unlearning constantly, unlearning what we learned. It's like when I started homeschooling, I read a lot about and did a lot of work on deschooling myself, so that I could actually learn, like, life learning, as opposed to this sort of regimented way of teaching and learning and seeing education as something else from ourselves. Again, like, this whole thing of motherhood, birthing is not a part of us. It's icky, it's messy, it's, it brings up feelings. Oh, so again, okay, I'm just keep going on and on, but I can't. I think so. When I was saying about, like, bringing things into your presentation part, like the PowerPoint, something like when you said this culture of lack, oh God, that's like so true. That I don't think even was on the slide. And I think it was so significant. I was like, what? That should be like its own slide, you know, or like a couple things, right? There were a few things like that. And like, you know, emphasizing how that we need to change our culture. And when you, just before you got to solutions, I was thinking, oh man, like now she needs to tell us how to do this, because we lost this and we need to do this. And it's like, how do we actually do that? And I was so glad to see that you had a full page and a nice chunk of your presentation about how to do that. Like, yes.
Oh.
Yes, because we can't present a problem and then people are going, how do we fix that? Like,
that's right. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that you kept referring to the dance, and then you had photos of dance. It brought you into it, your own experiences, how, like, this is how you experience your own body and how you explain things. That's why the writing was so good and cohesive, is because you kept bringing in certain metaphors and images and ideas that were threaded through the whole thing. That was really beautiful. I'm just going to run to my list and then I'll let everybody take over again. I love the photos. I mean, I love the ones of your kids. I actually think those belly dancing ones were you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they're so great. I love those photos. So good. And they were beautiful photos. They weren't just like like crappy, ugly looking, like they were very nice. And as you know, and I'm sure you've done this before, putting together a PowerPoint like this is a crap load of work, like hours.
It did take
yeah. How long did it take? It took a long time, eh?
Yeah, it did.
And just finding the photos. Oh my gosh, like that's why I didn't have a lot of photos in those first few months, because it was a lot to do. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Okay, so what else? I just want to mention a few more things before I send it off to everybody else to just go hard on their feedback. So I said more slides, highlight some bits, don't miss those really good key ones, and maybe have a few slides that are just like a little bit of text. I think that the PowerPoint could be put into two different things. I think it could be one, a PDF with more of the heavy text, and then two, a spread, more of a spread out PowerPoint. Not that you can't have all this text. It's just so that we're following that. Bam, that's the next point. Bam, that's the next.
That's so true. Yeah.
So that's why I said don't learn from me in that, because I'm not. This is not my forte.
No, I didn't have you in that.
I know I do that. I put a lot of text on one PowerPoint page. Yeah. So. And then, inspiring, and then the ordering of the text, making sure it follows what you're saying. Most of the time it did. Sometimes it just didn't. It was a little bit out of order. So I was trying to find where you were. Okay. Because when you have the audio is beautiful, because, but when you have the audio and video, like the PowerPoint at the same time, that's when you have to kind of worry about those things. But if you were to listen to this recording, no problem. There's no problem at all. There's no issue with organization. It's just how it follows with the text in the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So blah, blah, blah. There was only one part where I was needing a bit more explanation, was when you talked about the indigo crystal and rainbow children. What does that mean? I didn't know what they were.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I can see both. What they say now is there's children that are coming onto the planet that are more connected to themselves, because that's what the planet needs. The energies of the planet need that. Indigo children are very psychic, very intuitive, very sensitive, but can also have a bit of a dark side. So they can be a bit aggressive. They can have that bit of aggression sort of running through. The crystal children are very sensitive, very psychic, but actually don't have the aggression. So they're very light, a very, very beautiful kind of light form of energy. And the rainbow children too, it's just a slightly different form of energy even. But what I was wondering about this is in terms of it sort of saying, we're getting more autistic children coming in. Some people are saying it's because the energy of the earth, that's what's actually needed on the earth, because their energy is so different to, the sort of patriarchal, heavier energy that's happening at the moment, and we need things to lighten up coming up to 2032 when there is going to be this huge shift in energy.
Interesting.
I've got funny enough, I got a couple of, well, that's the crystal children. But yeah, indigo, and I think I could even see a bit of indigo in my son actually, and I think my daughter's more crystal, so that's kind of but it's just a different way of thinking about what they need and how they might see the world slightly differently, but they all are more highly sensitive coming through, which we could look at and think, well, it's because they're more toxic, you know. So there's sort of different ways to look at something.
But it's like it all goes together. That's the thing. It's like you can't really like us here in this group. We don't really want to pick one or the other. You know, we could go like with this whole like idea of these indigo children and these crystal children, or we can go the medical, like the functional medicine route and go, well, it's because of toxicity, blah, blah, blah. You know. But it's almost like right, like we're trying to marry them all, which is so. Which when you focus on, it's all of it. Right? It's all of it.
That's right. Yeah. It is. And it's just that different energies that are coming in, and indigos kind of know their place here. They feel quite worthy of being here, sort of thing as well. So, but it's funny seeing some of it through my son as well. I'm thinking, I think that. That applies.
Yes. So interesting. Yes. Have you? Okay, so I just have one or two more points. I think, like, as far as content goes, like, men and boys need to be aware of this cycle, because they're very much a part of it, but also can understand it. So then you have if they're understanding this, there's more of like a support, from when, like, with this whole pregnancy, childbirth, that whole thing, but also like on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, and respecting those rhythms. And men have their own rhythms, right? So, I think that this isn't just for women to know, that it's actually really essential for those men and boys to understand this stuff too, instead of like, you're, just, on your period, or like, just, oh gosh, like that stuff is just so damaging, and it's just irritating.
Yeah. And that's true. And so important for them to see the importance of self-care for a mama as well, and all of that side of it as well. I think definitely
for sure. Yes, because then women are, because often, like, even if a woman says, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this self-care and I have to take that time, there's like still, we're supportive of you, but not, because you should still be doing this. You should still be, you should be super mom. You shouldn't be like selfish, like, I mean, so for sure, I totally agree. Yeah. Okay, so, and I just want to say too, I had a moon circle with with my daughters and with other moms with their daughters for several years, and I really miss it. And it just got to this point where nobody was putting the effort into coming anymore. So like, oh, we're busy. We're like, no, we're supposed to take this time. And I kept trying, and I kind of gave up doing it. So we fell apart a bit, but it was the most beautiful thing that we did. We talked about breast health with one of our moms who was a naturopathic doctor. I did creative writing with them one time where I had them pair up with different moms and they wrote about each other. And then we made a book, and they still have this book, it's like, and they wrote some poetry and stuff. And then, we did like things like little ceremonial things. One of us brought like a lot of song into our life, and actually that song ended, I sang it in a spoken word poem. That first one I shared with you, everybody. I learned that I wrote about my daughter, and but I learned that song from a friend through the moon circle. So we did red parties, a couple of them, when the girls came into that point in their life where they were menstruating, and it was beautiful. I miss it, and I think that I would love to do it again, but that cultural pull is so strong in the other direction. Like, it takes a lot of just presence in a place like that. It's not like you can learn it. Like, you can't teach someone, it's like people need to do it and be part of the ceremony and feel it. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because there's some more red tents popping up around where I am as well. So which are yeah, it's the same. It's just that feeling of being there, and that energy, and what you do and what you share is really, yeah, it's great. But you're right, people just need to have that shift, and it's trying to work out the ways of getting them to do that, because I've actually even found belly dancing by doing that. And when I talk more to the girls that I do it with, because that's a very feminine thing and it connects you to your body, they kind of can then get a bit more open to sort of thinking other ways. So it's kind of, you know, try how to get in there in a way to kind of open women up a bit more to think differently.
Exactly. And sometimes there's like one way, you know. Sometimes, like for you, maybe that is your way in. Well, I mean, it might be maybe books, maybe whatever, but I mean, your belly dancing and teaching other women to belly dance or welcoming them into your belly dancing circle, like that might be one of those things that's just like, for some reason, it like,
Yeah.
that was interested me, you know. For me, belly dancing, I talk about the body and you know, and women's bodies and just loving them, but man, I don't really want my belly out there right now. So that's not
That's right.
me. Just
Yeah.
I'm just like, come on, Carla, but like, you know. So
you don't have to get your belly out first time. Don't worry about that.
Wear a long shirt.
Stay covered up until you feel you want to liberate.
Yeah, and it's just all out there. I love it, so Kirstie. Thank you. Does anybody have any comments? Anne, are you landed yet? Datria, do you want to unmute or anything? I think we lost Ita. I don't know where she went, but anybody want to say?
Yes, hi.
Okay.
Sure. So I'm in a parking lot at Costco. Kind of crazy.
I have to go there today.
You gotta use your time wisely, right? Oh, man. Yeah, so I had taken some various notes, so I won't be as flowing as Carla, but I'll just tell you my various thoughts. So again, excellent. Because my daughter and I do homeschooling together, I've had to learn how to write. I was never schooled the way Carla was, or obviously the way you were, Kirstie. But just learning the mechanics of writing and the transition words and the strong verbs and not, you know, starting sentences with an I, just all those things. I mean, you did so eloquently, just it flowed. And like Ida said, you could, she would want to listen to you for hours. I felt the very same way. So feel encouraged, because it was amazing. I appreciated that you were had much humility in what you said and sharing those personal experiences. I think each time you did that, I felt pulled in even more. I loved the fact that you asked questions along the way, because it made me stop and listen more. It was really powerful for me.
Okay, yeah, great.
Let's see. So that you commented about our children being tuning forks. Totally believe that. And everything that we do, whether it's when the kids are in utero or when we are training them in the way they should go now, I mean, they watch mom more than anybody. And I mean, obviously little girls connect with moms typically more, and boys connect with the fathers, but I think the mom is the rock of the family. And you made some comment about how, you know, women from yesteryear, they raised up these strong villages, right? I think God has equipped us so much to be powerful women and to be humble as we serve people around us in our life, but to be steady eddies and to be able to multitask, even though I don't feel like I do that very, very well. But I think that we can, how would I say it? As we're training our children, we can do that so efficiently because we consider all aspects of their lives, you know, whether it's their safety or their nutrition or their sleep or their friends or their influences or their, you know, whatever, the list goes on. And husbands don't do that. That's not how they're made. So I think as women, to recognize that there is that the power that we have been given, it's a God-given gift, to guide and train our children is life changing if you really embrace that. And you can intentionally focus on being who you should be with your children, because it does matter. It matters how much you're on your phone. It matters, if you're grumpy, it matters if you respond with anger, all those things. And you also made some comment about kind of replacing something that's bad. I don't remember exactly what you said, but there's a biblical principle that is where if you put off something, then you have to replace it with something that's better or that's good. And you talked a fair bit about that. It was sort of threaded through your talk, and I appreciated that. Okay. So you were speaking about love and gratitude. So there's an acupuncturist who's treated my broken ankle a number of months ago, and she said that there was a study that she read. I don't remember the reference, but those two words, when we speak those words, there's something that is chemically happening within our brains. And you did a good job of pointing things out like that, and just the tangible comment that you made to live a life of gratitude, and you like wake up remembering 5 things that you're grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
Just those things. Carla, you've been giving us so much good food that's emphasizing this, just what our thought patterns make a difference. And even though I've known that, I think until taking this course and sort of struggling through some personal things that we've got going on in our family, I think I didn't really fully understand that to that level. And so you've made me really consider that again. Okay, so when Carla mentioned, she wasn't sure if people would kind of be pulled in by the topic of goddesses. And I personally, I'm a Bible believing Christian. That is not something that I prefer to, go towards. But I think that you can say, this is my opinion. This is sort of where I'm coming from. Not necessarily everybody will feel that way, but I think, it would be valuable to, at least from my perspective, like if I saw that on a talk, that probably I would turn the page and go to the next one, because that's just not where I am. But I think if you, that's not the primary promotion, right? That was just a kind of, in my estimation anyway, that was not the core of what you were talking about. Well, I do think that we do live in a spiritual world, and there is light and darkness. And so I tend to just take great care when talking about things like that, because I think personally, I think that you can get into a dangerous situation and get in over your head. And that's for a different discussion. For whatever that's worth. Okay. And there's a passage in the Old Testament that I'm going to just post because I don't have it referenced here right now, that speaks about how women are made and how we are gifted in all these variety of ways. And everything that you were saying it made me think about that passage. So I'll put that up. I love that you were talking about the impact of health on our kids, and even brought in speaking about chemicals and EMFs and food quality and sleep, and just all those things that they're so basic. I mean, breathing, right? Even deep breathing, belly breathing, quiet breathing with your mouth closed and you're using your nose, and just those kinds of things. We tend to think that in order to get healthy, we need to make it complicated. But those principles of clean water and clean air, and ridding our bodies of the things that aren't natural. We weren't designed to have plastic in our system, or we weren't designed to be all wired like we are. I think for me anyway, it's helpful to continue to hear those lessons over and over and over again, to remind myself that it is not complicated. And I love that you said that our thoughts impact our unborn children. And I was somewhat aware when I was pregnant that, I tried not to respond in anger, or I tried, those various things, because I know chemically things happen within our bodies when we do that. And I figured that would pass on to my child, but you really brought that to light. And I think that people aren't talking about that. So any woman coming to hear you speak, or to read a PDF or whatever, I think that is valuable information to share. Grounding ourselves, getting rid of fear. I need reminders all the time for that. loved all your tangible things that you gave us too. And again, just the picture came to my mind, holding grudges, the anger, the bitterness, you think about the physical things that are tied to our emotions. I've heard Dr. Axe speak about that and so many others, and Carla's given us so much food for thought on that topic. But those things, again, simple, but we have to get a hold of that. Don't worry about buying an expensive piece of equipment, right? Get your relationships right. Seek forgiveness, repair those things. Don't be bitter. Anyway, and I love, and this is my last thing, is that you gave us that call for action.
Yeah.
You involved us, you pulled us in, you empowered us, you challenged us to not just kind of listen to what you said, but really take ownership and to go forward as changed women and to impact our children and our just the world around us. So I loved it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Anne.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for that feedback. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very articulate feedback, Anne. You're like, oh, I'm just not going to be as flowing as Carla. Yeah, right. Come on, give your.
Well,
I mean,
they were like bullet points I was writing.
well, hey, that works. It kept you organized and flowing through all of your points. It was good. It was like that was amazing feedback. Amazing. So I just want to comment on one thing you said about the goddess thing. And so I just want to make sure you're really clear about my point about that was that, I'm not like, there's like this whole, where people are coming from. I think it's really just like, making sure that the core of what if you are at any point of what you're, like if you're advertising or whatever to the public, people that come and actually dive into what you're talking about is that where you get to, like, the languaging needs to be that it's going to kind of cast a wider net, because once Anne's in there, that would have been something that Anne wouldn't have sought out, because it's like, God, it's, and I would, but not necessarily like, I'm like, well, I'm not really into that right today, because I'm like preoccupied with this. I really want to know the science about this. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to put that goddess stuff on the back burner, because not because it doesn't matter. And it's not because it doesn't have anything to do with what you're talking about in this presentation. It's like, it's beautiful. I love the idea of returning to this feminine wisdom and this feminine strength. I love that. It's just when people tend to think that either it's like not for me, or they think it's like too woo-woo, that it's not really relevant to me today, because I have my kids to pick up from school. I got this, I got that. What's gonna fix me right now, right? So it's like, it's just languaging, because you leave the content. I like, that needs to be there. But it's like, how do you present it to get people in? Like, I'm gonna show you something really quick. This was my magazine. I just have it beside me because I had to dig it up. And so my only copy of this one particular, like this, I guess this edition. And so, it was called Cahoots. And this is the magazine I created and used to run for 8 years. And in it, we had all kinds of like, beautiful stuff. It was really different. But the whole thing, like, I mean, really, if you think about like politically, you would consider it feminist, because it was about women and it was like had really empowering stuff in there. We explored lots of different things, lots of art, literature, but we didn't talk about lipstick, looking good. Like, we didn't do the pop culture crap. Like I called it Cahoots, because we were in cahoots to change a consciousness, but we didn't want to overtly exclude all these people by saying this is a feminist magazine, and then like everybody's running for the hills. Right, so that's why it was called Cahoots, because we were in cahoots to change it. It's like changing the consciousness of the medical system and how we medicalize our bodies and ourselves. And if we're gonna say like, you're wrong, and all this stuff, like, which I want to do. I mean, believe me, I want to. But but to get people listening, we just need to say, hey, is there like a little problem here? And then people go, well, yes, there is. And then not telling people what to think, but to think. Right? We don't want to say no. We want to say we want you to think. Right? So, so it's sort of like a subtler way. And so anyway, and I know you're not, we're not really even at that point or whatever, but just that was my thought when I was going down that road, was that, to draw people in, because I think everybody needs to listen to this. How do we make sure that it is accessible, that they're in, so that we have that opportunity to teach them some things we have to share, right? Yeah. So that's what I mean by that. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to listen to you forever, we could talk about this forever. And so another thing about like turning this into some kind of project, that you use when you're starting to practice. There are so many discussion questions you can throw out there. So once you do this, then the discussion afterward is just going to be brilliant. And so even to think about a couple of questions that you could ask, your participants or audience or whatever after that, would be really great to add as well, like some discussion questions. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
Okay, I'm done blabbing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your feedback. That was brilliant. Great.
Wonderful job, Kirstie.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
thank
you for that. Okay,
now go put your feet up, right? That must have been exhausting. How long did it take you? I mean, have you been working on this for weeks and weeks? Probably.
Months, a few weeks. Since years. Yeah, it took me a good few weeks.
Yeah,
but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Love it. It was fun. It was fun, and it got me to think again as well. It was good for me because I was thinking a lot about everything. So yeah, it was good.
Well, and it's sort of cathartic too. It's like you're putting your own thoughts in order, and then for you it changes things for you, like as you go through it all and make sense of it, and like have to organize it, to communicate it. It's such a wonderful experience to go to do it, and I highly recommend it. Datria, I highly recommend doing it. Do it.
I want to do it. I just don't know how it's going to happen.
When?
If it does, it's going to be late.
I don't care.
I have all these various thoughts.
Yeah.
In 5 years, we'll have a meeting. How about
that? Sounds good. It's a date. Okay, so thanks for coming, you guys, and thank you for presenting, Kirstie. That was wonderful, and I'll have this up by tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being there, listening.
Bye. Have a good afternoon or evening. Bye.
Okay. Bye. All right. Bye.
Bye.